We're staying with the signing of the long-awaited Petroleum Industry Bill 2021 into law by President Muhammad Buhari in Abuja. The president signed the document in isolation on Tuesday, while the ceremonial part of the new legislation is expected to take place on Wednesday after the days of mandatory isolation would have been fulfilled. The Petroleum Industry Act provides legal, governance, and regulatory and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry, the development of host communities, and related matters. Let's broaden this out by talking to the director of Aspen Energy Nigeria, Israel Aye, who will be talking to us about the significance of this new law and how it impacts the Nigerian economy. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Aye. It's a thing that a bill that Nigerians have been waiting for, talking about expecting for the past 13 years and 20 years in running. Now we have an act. What do you make of this passage of the bill into act?
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. So this is a very good day for Nigeria. Some of us, as a matter of fact, had started to despair over. Probably didn't think we're going to see it again. But so to your question directly, what does this mean for us? It means that the cloud of uncertainty that hovered over the Nigerian petroleum industry for over 20 years now, you would say has been dispelled. And the point needs to be made that whatever your view or your thought is about the content and the form of the law, we say that investors can model risks, but no investor can model uncertainty. And the moment we indicated to the rest of the world that we were in the process of changing the legal and fiscal framework, we basically introduced that degree of uncertainty. So it is a good thing that we have a framework, a legal and a fiscal framework, and that provides a basis for investing in this environment. And then we can begin to think and talk about how it works.
Well, how concerned are you about the fact that the signing of the PIB now we should probably be talking about PIA, Petroleum Industry Act, what it may mean to the price of petrol, the prices of petrol, which could jump as high as 300 naira per liter from the current price of 162 to 165 if market forces are allowed to determine the price. How concerned are you about this reality that we will soon face real soon?
Well, the Petroleum Industry Act, as it now is not and will never be a silver bullet to solve all problems. You would expect perhaps that once that the law has come into effect, as it has, with the signing into law, that there will be a process. There will be a transitional process, if you understand, if you know what I mean. There will be a transitional process at many levels. So there is, in fact, what you call the savings and the transitions. And so we're transitioning to a whole new governance framework. We're transitioning to a whole new set of rules. There is now a statutory basis for the engagement between the community and the operators. There's an entirely new fiscal framework. And there's a whole lot of, new things that are happening. So that's one thing to note. The second thing to note is that the question of the pump price of PMS and DPK, which are probably the two major petroleum products that are in issue anytime we talk about subsidy, is again not going to be solved by one piece of legislation. You need to understand that has some very practical and pragmatic issues around the interface between demand and or supply. And one of the points it's made very frequently is that unless we can influence supply, you cannot control price. It's as simple as that. Unless you can influence supply, then you cannot control price. If you want to control price, you have to do so by way of subsidy.
Let me quickly jump in now. By assenting to this, the president possibly aligned with the position of the National Assembly, which proposes 30% revenue allocation for the development of frontier inland basins. But this is one thing that has got a lot of people talking, that now the world is focused on renewable energy. We are still talking about, rehabilitating our refineries and so on and so forth, exploring more basins to discover more oil. Do you think we are majoring on the minor? Are we supposed to be looking in this direction, really?
Okay, I mean, so you've packed a lot of things into one question, and let me do my best to unpack it as best as I can, right? So you talked about the Frontier Development Fund, which is what it is, and of course you've talked about refining and the rest. But again, just to bed the question around the price of petroleum products, is that in order for us to get away from the subsidy regime, we have to do one of two things. We either have to grow the capacity of Nigeria to produce petroleum products, which is not going to happen overnight. You would need to do so. You need to put a process that is now hopefully supported by law to grow capacity in that sector, and then you are going to be able to impact things around supply.
Right.
Okay, and so you can impact things around supply. But if you talk about frontier development, a bit of the concern around there is, yes, it's not directionally, it's not a bad idea to commit into some sort of future, because the Frontier Fund, if you will, is a future fund or a fund committed to growing your future share.
I'm afraid we're out of time. Thank you so much, Director of Aspen Energy Nigeria, Israel Aye. We'll see how this pans out at the end of the day.
Not a problem at all. All right, thank you very much.